Everybody, welcome to Stack Your Points. Thanks for watching and listening. And this is the Friday Q&A segment. So your questions, we answer them, sometimes up to an hour, sometimes it creates its own episode in and of itself. So if you have questions, always feel free to drop them on the YouTube channel or email us at stackyourpoints@gmail.com. But we hope you enjoy this week's Q&A session. Thanks for watching and listening. It's Monday evening, and I'm wearing this hoodie, which means it is Stack Your Points time. Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards? RJ, how are you this evening?
I am well. It is St. Patrick's Day. I have my green on, which I can use for both the Red Sox and the Packers, which is very exciting. So I am good.
Excellent. You only ever see the Red Sox wearing green at spring training, so there you go. We're also joined by Tariq from Reek's Rewards. Tariq, how are you today?
I'm good. I got a little bit of green on for St. Patrick's Day so that I don't get pinched, and I'm going to give a virtual pinch to you and Matt. Oh, you and Lonnie, because, you know, it's green. St. Patrick's Day.
Find me in my bunker, and maybe I'll allow it. And finally joined by Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie YouTube channel, which, Lonnie, I have to say, my favorite chase card doesn't exist.
Well, first thing, Tariq, don't touch me. And then second thing,
get back in that corner.
Early vote for episode title, Tariq, don't touch me.
But who wants to hear a joke?
Southwest Airlines?
I was actually going to say American Express members only week offers.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. How about those offers? I couldn't tell the difference between today and yesterday.
No, I can tell the difference.
There.
They're 2 week only. That's the difference between the offers, is they're 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, but still, I'm just saying.
Did they consult with their friends over at Marriott when presenting these offers? Because
I don't know. All right. Everyone who has access to the offers in an Amex account, go look up the Hilton one and then try not to laugh when you read the terminology of what you can actually use the Hilton offer for. Ironically enough, it's barely for Hilton.
Nice.
Barely.
Nice.
Wait. What are these select properties? Is it the?
Should we?
Is it only the Hampton Inn in Barrow, Alaska?
No. It's like Curio Collection, Tapestry Collection, Graduate, and something else.
Excludes Hilton Hotels and Resorts, Signia, Doubletree, Embassy Suite. Excludes every other Hilton that most people use.
So it is
every Hilton that people would normally use. It includes the first 2 pages. You could have to hit 2 and 3 to find a Hilton that you can actually use this Hilton credit for.
So it's Curio, Canopy, Tapestry, Motto, Tempo, and Graduate by Hilton.
I've never heard of those Hilton properties before in my life.
I have stayed at Curios. They tend to be pretty good, but
one of them's a hostel. It's a Hilton hostel. You can use it there.
Hilton hostel?
Graduate is the the new college town collection of hotels that they purchased. Where the one in New York City isn't actually on Manhattan Island, it's on Roosevelt Island, right off of Manhattan.
Is that where they put the quarantine people back in the day?
No, that was North Brother Island. And that's where all the bodies are from COVID.
There goes there goes our any chance of monetization.
Well,
and who am I kidding? We're small. We're not there yet.
We're not monetized anyway.
That's what I'm saying. I said we're not there yet.
They want to come back and go through the backlogs when we get monetized. They can be my guest. They got my build video to worry about later. Anyway, let's jump into our questions. Lonnie, glad to hear that you're doing well. Again, just have to always include a little members only Easter egg whenever I watch your members only videos. Our first question comes from first time questioner, long time listener, Thic Boii, who asks, can you go over when it makes sense to transfer points to hotels,
other than Hyatt, because hotel points are always less than 1 cent per point, and you could do better with things like the Capital One Travel Eraser or the Chase portal with just Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve. It seems like it makes more sense to either earn those with a co-branded credit card or buy them on sale. Um, Lonnie, I'll throw to you first for this one.
Oh, for sure. So I'm going to start with the second part because you're absolutely right. It can make more sense. Now, this is choose your own adventure. Mileage may vary, whatever jargon you want to put in there. Um, to use a travel portal to book your hotels. I've talked about this a million times myself. I've talked about point stacks and travel hacks around using the travel portals, or even like a Amex Find Hotels and Resorts, a Amex travel portal. And let's not throw Built's portal out there. If we're going to say Chase Sapphire Preferred, we got to say Built, because Built's also at 1.25. So yes, it can make sense, but does it make sense to transfer your points to the hotel? When you need to book a hotel. I'm going to be really straightforward on this one. So if you don't have a hotel card, and you can get a better deal by using hotel points. Now, sometimes you will lose value, depends on when you do it, of course, because as you had mentioned, as you're already aware of, the cent per point value for a hotel point versus like a standard Chase point or Amex point is usually going to be a little bit less. Chase and Amex transferable points, Capital One, are usually always about 1 cent per point straight up, unless you got something that's going to inflate them. But let's just stay with the flat, the 1 cent per point. Hotel points are usually worth less than that. So if you're transferring them out and you're getting a 1-to-1 ratio, yes, you're going to lose value. But let's take the financial value out of it. If I can book this through a travel portal and it's going to cost me 50,000 points, but I can book it directly with the hotel and it's going to cost me 35,000 points. Value doesn't matter. You're winning right there. And depending on the time that you do it, I don't think there's ever truly a time when there's not a inflated transfer bonus offer on hotels. Now, hotels do it all the time. They do it more than airlines. And that's because they know that their values are a lot less. I think specifically last week we had talked about this with Hilton, or maybe the week before, someone had asked about Hilton points and getting to 1 million and all this other stuff. And then if you actually go to the Hilton website, log in, because I know you have an account. So log into your account and just pick some random, it doesn't have to be aspirational, just pick some place that you've already went to before or you plan on going to later. And look how much those points cost. And it's almost astronomically comical sometimes when you see a standard room and it costs 90,000 points per night. But the reason why is because, one, Hilton makes it really easy to get their points. Like most hotel cards, you spend $1, you get 3 hotel points. So that's why those types of things are there. And they give you so many other tools and resources if you decide to use it, like a dining program or a shopping program, to earn even more for your money. And that's why they do it, because they want you to use all these different resources and things like that so that you can get as many points as possible. Now, going back to your original question, that's the first sign of when does it make sense? When you want to book, and if it, from a quantity of points matter, maybe not a value matter, it also makes sense. But last but not least, the only other time, and the time that I would actually say it the most, is when you need to top off. So going back to that 50,000 a night or whatever, you need 50,000 points booking, and you're sitting at 45,000. Yeah, don't go spend a full 50 with Chase when you could just, or Built or Amex, when you could just transfer a couple over and top that off and then make that booking directly with the hotel. That's my answer.
Oh, certainly makes sense. RJ, your thoughts here?
So there's a couple of other things. I agree with everything Lonnie said, but there's a couple of other places my mind went. Sometimes you just don't want to use a portal. Like there are times when it's mission critical for me based on what I'm doing, where I don't want to have to deal with a third party. I don't want to have to deal with Amex. I don't have to deal with Chase or Capital One or whoever. Just want to deal with Delta or Hilton or Marriott or whoever I'm going with, right? Because if something goes wrong with that booking, I don't want to have to deal with the third party. Now, yes, I have an Amex Platinum. Yes, I get the Platinum line. Is that going to be better customer service at 2 in the morning when I'm checking into a hotel? Maybe, maybe not, right? But it's a lot easier if it's a Hilton booking and I'm dealing with Hilton's customer service. So sometimes for me, I just will book directly because of that fact. For me, it is a peace of mind. Now, is it necessarily the most important thing? Maybe, maybe not. But that is a factor of why some people, I have had bad experiences with portals. That's why I'm more critical of them at times. Some people have never had a bad experience and they use them all the time. So it really is going to depend on that is sort of how you have been burnt in the past. Sometimes it's a status reason. Like if you're sometimes the bookings through portals will give you extra benefits. Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts is a reason for this. But some hotels aren't part of that program, but you might have status at that hotel. So your status might get you farther than whatever award you would get booking through a portal. And if it's a late checkout or something that is important to you to get, you're going to want to book directly. To book directly, you might have to transfer out points or pay cash, right? So those are some of the things. Some of it is just like Travel Eraser to me is very different than using a portal. Because yes, monetarily it might be the same or a little less, but you're booking directly with whatever and then just erasing it based on points. So I think that's a little bit different than a portal. Um, I personally am never going to really use a portal for an airline booking. I'm going to use a portal more for um, hotels if I go that way, right? Just who I am and how I travel, that tends to be how I go there. And then I'm gonna say the thing that we say, Lonnie and me more particularly, and I think Trick and Matt, is like sometimes you just want to take the trip and the math of the things just makes sense to just transfer it out for whatever reason. And getting obsessed about the, oh, I only got zero point 0.8 cents per point versus 1.1 cent per point, like sometimes just take the damn trip. Um, so I did want to throw that out there because I do so much like to say, take the damn trip.
That certainly all also adds up. Tariq, your thoughts here?
I feel like this question is best asked in the new Discord channel that RJ created that and subsequently muted, that being the new corner cent per point hell. But I will say, like RJ and Lonnie, y'all both kind of touched on like what I would have said. I will kind of expound on like the status portion of it. If not, like if you're wanting to earn elite nights, for the most part, with your like if you're booking a hotel through a transfer portal or travel portal, excuse me, you may not get those elite night credits. So not only would you not get the status, like for me, I have Hyatt Discoverist and I have IHG Platinum. I wouldn't book my hotels through that portal because I may not get the late checkout or the welcome amenity, or even if it's just the 2 free bottles of water at Hyatt. Like that's something that's nice. My girlfriend loves it because she needs a lot of water. So I want to keep that going. So if you want to try to earn through status or earn your nights to get status, whether it be naturally or, because you're not going to get the card, it does make a lot more sense to just book direct. Plus, like you said, RJ, I booked one hotel through a transfer portal, had no issue, but I'm not going to take that chance again. Fortunately, it was just like a mediocre Spring Hill Suites in Houston. I didn't even try to do something like extravagant or where something could potentially happen. So I am a more proponent of just saying screw it and transferring out my points and booking direct. Only other thing I wouldn't do, like I would do a portal if it's like a hotel that I don't really care about earning elite night credits, or I don't have status with, or they don't have a true like elite status program. Like there are just some one-off hotels that you can just book through the travel portal, and it'd be good there. But for your main hotel brands, I just say book direct. The cent per point doesn't really matter in that sense, and like RJ and Lonnie would just say, take the trip.
So all of your Four Seasons travel will be through the Chase travel portal?
Yes.
I mean, they don't have a loyalty program. They don't have status. They don't have anything crazy like that. You can find them in the edit. So you'll get that $100 credit. You'll get the late checkout. You'll get. Why am I selling this?
I haven't figured that out yet. Now, in the Chase portal, can you just put your kidney into the system when you're staying at the Four Seasons, or do you have to like send it in?
Kidney expected upon arrival.
Yeah, you got to bring it with you.
Yeah. Same at the Omnis, even though Omni has its own status, has its own loyalty program. So, I agree with pretty much everything my co-hosts have said. Always makes sense to transfer to Hyatt. So speaking outside of Hyatt, uh, if you want to try transfer your points over to a hotel, there's nothing stopping you. Um, Hyatt, I'm sorry, in the American Express ecosystem, Hilton being 1 to 2, Hilton, you can always get that top off. You're good to go from there. So you can, convert your 100,000 American Express reward points that you're looking to book with to 200,000 Hilton points and afford that 90,000 point room for 2 nights all at once. So you're good there. Travel Eraser I haven't used, but the Chase portal, I would recommend booking with points through the portal. If it is a hotel, like Tariq said, if it's a hotel chain that you don't really have a significant interest in building up status with, or you're not happy with what the cent per point would be, and there's an alternate way to get a little bit better value and still taking the damn trip, you can research that. That's what my IHG booking for October is going to be. But realistically, like if you want to build points in a particular program, your best bet is going to be co-branded cards and buying them when the points are on sale. Or if there's a significant bonus on the point purchases. So Choice right now is doing a 60% bonus when you purchase points with Choice. The 100% bonus on IHG and Hilton seems to come around every other month, basically. Like, I can't find a month in the year where that's not fully available at some point during that month. Doing that, having the co-branded cards, having some status with IHG and Hilton will also enable that 4th night free or that 5th night free when you're making that booking. So that's where the cards definitely come into play. That's where status will definitely come into play. If you don't care about status, or if it is a new hotel experience that you're looking to do and the Chase Travel Portal is a way to book through the edit, guarantee yourself 1.5 cent per point, and book, I don't know, the Four Seasons somewhere, that 1.5 cents per point is literally the only way you're going to guarantee not paying through the nose for a night at the Four Seasons. And get 1.5 cents per point on that booking. Okay. And then you get to tell everybody that you didn't pay a dime to stay at a Four Seasons and you saved money by staying at the Four Seasons through the Chase Travel Portal. That's cool and all, but unless that's like the reason for the trip, it can always make sense. You can always just rationalize it as I made the trip, I made the memories. Did I get the highest cent per point I could? No. But did I get to do the thing I wanted to do? Yeah, you can do that. If maximizing your cent per point at IHG, at Hilton, or bless your heart, Marriott, build your relationship with them, get a co-branded card through one of those programs and make your life a little bit easier and get closer to that cent per point by getting the 4th or 5th night free on the points booking and being able to build a stash of points through welcome offers, through point sales, through transfer bonuses, because Hilton always has a transfer bonus with American Express that comes around pretty frequently. Right now, there is an American Express, the member week American Express Marriott transfer bonus is 25%. Ooh boy. There's a 50% Marriott transfer bonus with Chase right now. You can always purchase points. So there's always a way to get a better cent per point. But at the end of the day, if you're just looking to make the trip happen, just make the trip happen. So, yeah, like, don't worry about maximizing the cent per point on the hotel. Like, the only way you're really going to be able to do that is like a couple of different tricks with like Hilton or Hyatt, or like, here's my basic Hyatt redemption. And we're not putting Hyatt in, we're not keeping Hyatt in this discussion, but like, you got to utilize that 4th night free, that 5th night free. In order to do that, you're going to need the co-branded cards anyway. So there you go. If you don't want to do the co-branded cards, there's your travel portal. So there we go. We'll move over to our next question. It comes from friend of the pod, Keith, who asks, where do you see Priority Pass domestically in 3 or 4 years? Priority Pass and the banks with their own lounges seem to be growing apart. I know we've answered this question before, but we are taking another look at it. I believe this was in the
This was in the Lost episode, yes.
So we're going to take a crack at it now, and we should be fine. RJ, where do you see Priority Passes lounges domestically in the next 3 or 4 years?
I see them as the fast food option. Like that quick go in, like you don't want to pay for like the steak dinner, so you grab the hamburger like before the flight. Like they're the ones, like everybody, I think I have 5 cards with Priority Pass. Like they give Priority Pass away like the free toothbrush at the dentist. Like you just get it. Whether you want it or not, you just get it. So it feels like it's becoming sort of the cheap, easy option, which isn't a bad thing, right? More people in the Priority Pass lounges means less people in the Delta and the Centurion lounges. I'm a fan of that. Somebody with access to both, and sometimes they're a little crowded. It's nice. And I kid about that a little bit, but I think that one of the problems is Priority Pass is becoming less relevant to people because they're now more crowded and because everybody has access to them. Now, in some ways, that's good, right? Like if I'm flying Delta and Tariq's flying Southwest and Lonnie's flying United and Matt's flying JetBlue and we all meet up somewhere and we want to go hang out, chances are we can go to a Priority Pass lounge and we can all get in, right? And that is nice. That is helpful. That is great. We can all sit down and have a cup of coffee or tea in Lonnie's case and have a good time. It's great. But if I'm flying with myself or my family, I'm not even looking to see what Priority Pass lounges are in whatever airport I'm in. I'm going to just go to the Delta or the Centurion Lounge because I have not yet been to an American airport where I do not have either a Delta Lounge or a Centurion Lounge, except for my home airport because they hate me. That's a thing that I will never stop talking about until they put a lounge in. It'll probably be a United one, and I'm going to be really annoyed when I have to get a United card. Anyway. But yeah, I think they're becoming sort of the fast food option. They're becoming the quick, easy, everybody's got access, which is in some ways good. But the problem is if they want to monetize it more or get better deals with the cards they're on, it puts them in a much weaker place than if they were people's maybe first or even second choice. So I don't see a long-term like super popular success, but I do think they do serve a niche in the market.
Definitely. Lonnie, you're not a huge fan of the cookie and the sad salad bar. I mean, you're a fan of the cookie, but the sad salad bar part is kind of a problem. Where do you see Priority Pass lounges in the next 3 or 4 years?
Man, I don't really see them now, but I am also not a fan of a bad cookie. With that being said, though, I kind of agree with Keith on this one where um, the priority, well, all these banks issuers and everyone's starting to make their own lounges. Like there was only a couple airlines had their own lounge. Now there's well, Amex has been around for a while, but there's Amex, and now there's Chase, and Capital One is growing. You know, everybody's starting to do their own thing, where Priority Pass wasn't very strong in the U.S. in the first place, at least domestically. I'm going to say that because he actually put domestically in the question. So domestically, it really wasn't. And if you ever did go to one, it kind of sucked. Like, haven't really ever heard of a domestic Priority Pass lounge where someone's like, man, that one's a good one, you know? And I've been around this block a couple of times, especially domestically. And I can tell you where all the bad ones are. Anyway, that's besides the point. We're tangent episode was last week.
Yes.
But the thing is I do agree with RJ, as she had mentioned, like sometimes I travel with friends, sometimes I travel with coworkers, and yeah, Priority Pass is just that one unified spot. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not necessarily the friend, but I'm definitely the coworker. Like, oh, you can't get in. I guess I'll see you at the gate. And like, I'll leave we're coworkers, not buddies. Anyway, I'm just being real. Like, hey, you guys know what I do. You guys know what I do on the side. You guys are subscribed to my channel, and you have not stepped your game up so you can be at my level. I'm not gonna go sit in the lobby with you for no reason. But sorry, RJ, I did go off on a tangent. I think Priority Pass in the next couple of years needs to do one of two things. Either they need to bow out, they need to sell, just like, you know what, we're just going to retire, sell the business and bow out, or they need to step their game up. Yeah, they need to step their game up. Like, when it comes to the lounges right now, it's about two things. And I kind of just mentioned this in my tangent. It's either luxury, and I'm saying luxury loosely, by the way, like modernization, or exclusivity. Like, none of us really care about these lounges. And I've said it before, like, I've been to lounges all the time, and like, especially in the morning, the pancakes are dry, the chicken's dry in the afternoon, the salad bars always suck. Please have a good cookie. Like, good cookie and some cranberry juice is all I don't have a high bar for lounges. It's just better than sitting outside, unless I feel like getting my steps in. If I got a long travel day, then I'll just go walk the terminal. But outside of that, it's really not anything, but it's really like, oh, I get to get in here. You want to come with me? And people that don't have lounge access are like, yeah, man, let me get in that lounge with you. Let me get in the United Club. Let me get in the Amex Club with you, right? But if you're solo, it's not like, oh man, I gotta have this, or like, I'm not showing up to the airport for the lounge like 2 hours, 3 hours early just so I can go sit in the lounge. It's not that great. And so I would say as a whole, there's a problem with lounges domestically. Once you go international, it's a completely different story. I'm going to be completely real with you. International lounges are a completely different story, including Priority Pass ones. I have been to Priority Pass lounges internationally. But for domestically, Priority Pass either needs to step their game up or just go ahead and throw in the towel. And that's what I think should happen over the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, I can't necessarily disagree with that. You know, the club thing and Chase has always been a bit of a bugaboo for me on either on this program or on my channel. Like I have said, Chase just needs to buy the club. It would instantly expand them into the teens, into the 20s with the number of lounges available. They could actually control the brand of the club now with the Sapphire Reserve card, and they could kick people out, which would be nice.
Yeah, I would actually also just adding on to that is follow the money.
Yes.
And here domestically, if there are international players that have like the A3 airport where the A380 flies in and out of, the Etihads, the Qatars, you know, like the big, where a Saudi prince might be on the flight type of situation, go look at those airports and the lounges that are in them. They're always immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. Like some of the best, the ones that are basically like what you see internationally. We talk about JFK a lot. EWR doesn't have that same type of like lounge aesthetic, that lounge luxury. Atlanta, as we know, has the biggest Amex lounge, I think, in the U.S. at the moment. Not in the world, but at the
I think
in the
that's
U.S.
LaGuardia right now.
Either way, LaGuardia's Amex lounge is also ridiculous compared to Miami, compared to SFO, compared to LAX. And so that's why I say if you look at where the money is, you'll understand. And it'll make complete sense. If you travel internationally, you travel through Frankfurt Airport, Charles de Gaulle, London Heathrow, where the priority pass is, or even like Taiwan and South Korea, Taiwan Airport and Incheon in South Korea, two separate airports. If you look at both of those and look at their priority passes, even their Star Alliance Gold lounges, that the ones you can get with Star Alliance Gold status get into, you're going to be like, why aren't we like this in the US? And that's probably because us. Spell that how you want to.
Nope, that's fair. Tariq.
So I did want to update. Just did a little Google search. Looks like the Centurion Lounge at ATL that opened back in Valentine's Day last year is the largest at 26,000 square feet. I was just
No.
curious. So
World or
Hey.
US?
Hmm?
Is that world or US?
It just says American Express just puts it as to open largest Centurion Lounge. So I'm assuming the world.
Probably, yeah, their largest globally would be at ATL.
Makes sense because, Delta. But honestly, when I think of priority pass lounges, I really think of the club or like those random one-off lounges. Like I did the Wingtips Lounge in St. Louis, which paid for that one in cash because I was like, hey, Dad, there's a lounge here. We don't have priority pass access because I am still a little boy and haven't decided to get the Sapphire Reserve yet. But, for the most part, when I see priority pass lounges, I just think of, like airports. Like, for example, perfect example, I was at Kansas City. I flew out of MCI on Sunday or yesterday, I guess, because I can't math right now, I think. And they had an escape lounge, and I think escape lounge is part of priority pass. And only other lounge they had was a Sky Club. But I was looking at the escape lounge and I was like, man, if it wasn't $60 a person, or if I had a Sapphire Reserve or literally any other card that had priority pass, I would have loved to be at the escape lounge because I made a grave mistake instead by paying $40 for airport barbecue, and I paid for it like 2 a.m. last night. So I would have been better off with, the little small finger food sandwiches and, the coffee dispenser and the soda fountain and, a decent cookie. But, I'm new to this travel day thing, so I'm a little hard-headed. I just see, I see in the next 3-4 years, I just see priority pass just still existing, just kind of the afterthought or the general lounge network that all of us, like RJ said, regardless of who we're flying with, we can go visit each other and go hang out. Because if not, we'd have to just figure out, well, Lonnie's flying United, he's going to be in United Club. RJ's going to be either at a Centurion Lounge or a Sky Club. And then Matt and I would just be priority pass, or if JetBlue has the lounge with their uber premium credit card that he just absolutely loves. So yeah, no, I think they'll just exist, and who knows, maybe Chase will finally buy out the club, and then priority pass as we know it will just kind of go away.
The second time today that I've been told that there's a card out there that I love that just crawls under my skin. Also, your first mistake was airport barbecue.
It was last minute. I wanted to try some barbecue.
First time last time doing it at the airport.
Yes. Well, second time, because first time I flew out of my home airport and didn't have any issue. So I don't
Sushi, prepackaged sandwiches, egg salad sandwiches. They're separate. Barbecue. 4 things you never eat at the airport or a gas station.
Buc-ee's exists.
Not doing it. And
That's
I don't
fair.
live anywhere near a Buc-ee's.
Yeah. So priority pass domestically the next 3 to 4 years. There's a couple of different paths that they could go. I agree with Lonnie that they kind of need to step their game up. There's a couple of priority pass lounges, like the club specifically, that could use renovations. I hear the one in Jacksonville is being renovated right now. There are some that need to get bigger. There are some, that they just need to sell the brand to Chase at this point. Let Chase take over the club. But there are other lounges out there that are priority pass lounges. Beside being a meeting place for folks who are flying different sorts of airlines, like if you're all flying through the same airport and you're all friends and you want to meet up, that is one use case for domestic priority pass lounge. But really, in the next 3 to 4 years, like, you're going to see Citi eventually join the fray. You're eventually going to see Wells Fargo join the fray based off of Citi. Citi's already filed trademarks for Strata Lounge. Wells Fargo has like a floating Wells Fargo trademark that also indicates the possibility of eventually becoming airline lounges. So like the banks are going to get into the lounges even further because it's a way to keep folks in their ecosystem, right? Chase and American Express and Capital One have all figured this out. You're building out the brand loyalty with the bank. Not necessarily the fact that it gets you in a lounge is one thing. Now you're going to keep them in with American Express or with Chase or Capital One, except we're all going to collect all the premium cards like Infinity Stones anyway. But next 3 to 4 years, like Priority Pass could just abandon the lounge concept and just give us like just become like a restaurant discount service inside of the airports, which airport restaurants, depending on how they are, may end up paying for it afterwards because you bought airport barbecue instead of just stopping one last time for barbecue before going to the airport in Kansas City, where burnt ends are just right there. So
I'm
Matt, I have a question for you.
Yes.
For you personally, what would be funnier? If Amex bought the club or if Wells Fargo bought the club?
Absolutely, if Wells Fargo bought the club. If Wells Fargo bought the club out from underneath Chase, like I've said before, I will laugh to the bank. Because just that would just be the funniest thing. And I would love to see Chase being caught sleeping at the wheel on that one. That is sleeping at the wheel in Montana with the foot on the gas and just driving into a butte. That is how catastrophic that would be. So yeah, the banks and Priority Pass are definitely growing apart. How Priority Pass fixes this? They've either got to step their game up, or maybe they just get out of the lounge portion of things in the US and either drive like a restaurant subscription or tack back in with like escape lounges or Dragon Pass or something else, or like find a new niche, because what's happening now is not great. They're overcrowded. You've got mediocre cookies at best and sad salad bars. You've got just overcrowding, people sleeping on the floor. It's not ideal. And like, it's not that things are magically better as soon as you walk in the Centurion Lounge or you walk into the Sapphire Lounge, but the bank lounges are going to not always be at capacity. Like, there will be time where you can get a seat at a bank lounge as opposed to a Priority Pass lounge, which will almost always have a wait associated with it. Like, it's not ideal. So thanks, Keith, for that one. We'll move over to newly minted friend of the pod, Jason, who asks, if you could steer the credit card YouTube content in a different direction, what would you like to see more of, and what would you like to see less of? And let's go to RJ first for this one.
This is the best card ever. This is the worst card ever. You should get this card tomorrow. You should never get this card. Cancel this card immediately. Never cancel this card. Like, those videos are so just nakedly designed to get people to click a referral link that it drives me insane. Now, there are some people who make those videos in good faith, right? Like, they make them because something has happened and they have a point of view and they want to actually give information or, to talk about their experience with a card, right? There are people who make them in good faith.
Lonnie
There are
CSR
also
video.
right. There are also people
Thanks.
who do not make them in good faith because they know that if they do a splashy graphic, and then have some graphics around it. Exactly, Trig, thank you for that. I'm sure somebody will screenshot that for their own private collection. Anyway, there are people who do it in good faith. I am not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who are doing it basically just to get clicks, right? They're not really telling you anything in the videos other than, oh my God, Amex changed the gold card and now everybody should cancel it. I'm totally going to cancel mine. You're not going to see me cancel it, but I'm totally canceling mine. But 2 weeks later, I'm going to talk about the gold card that I have. Like, those videos, those drive me nuts. I understand why people do it, but I do not need to see how you did a redemption. I don't need to see how random person booked an airline ticket for Delta with Virgin points or for Alaska with United points or however you do it. I'm sorry. I don't need that content in my life. And I think if you make less of it and talk more about credit cards holistically and actually give opinions that like you have consistently because you actually have a point of view and you're not just an automaton like going for the algorithm, the world will be a better place. Like, people having actual opinions that like might cost them if people don't agree with them, but other people will sign up because you have an opinion that's actually your opinion and not an opinion created by the algorithm would be fantastic. Like, so much of the content that is not the people on this chat, because I think Matt and Lonnie are really good creators and I think they both have opinions that are strongly held and truly held and not just made to get people to click on their videos. But there's a lot of people who are making content just so you click on their video and they do not believe any of the things in that video. And that to me is bad, and we should not give those people the time of day anymore. So I guess insincerity is my number one complaint. After saying all of those words, it basically boils down to the people who are insincere should stop being insincere and actually give it their honest opinion. There's an old Key and Peele sketch of like the guy who just is into the popular thing, and as soon as like you interrogate them on why they like the thing, they like crumble down and like run off. And that feels like most of the popular, quote, popular YouTubers are just, this is the popular thing. I'm going to talk about it, but not give a real opinion because I don't want to have somebody say I contradicted myself in 6 months. So that's what I don't like. More people like Lonnie and Matt who have actual opinions and real thoughts and are good at what they do. I would say Tariq, but he hasn't made a video yet.
Hey, he was good for the hour that we recorded together and turned into 2 videos, so he
This is
did
very
real well
true,
there.
but it's not on his channel.
Well, I'm trying. So what you're saying is I shouldn't publish the Why I Love the Chase Freedom Flex video that I've been editing secretly in the background for 6 months.
If you have been editing, I will resubscribe I will go to the highest level of your membership, Matt, if you put out a Why I Love the Freedom Flex video.
Gonna drop on April 1st.
Yeah. Lonnie is another YouTube creator. Where would you want to see content going? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of?
So I'm not going to do a full RJ. It was almost a rant. We were right there.
Not quite.
It was so close. I'm not going to go that far, but I actually like this question, Jason. One is because this is what I'm trying to do with my channel as we speak. The first thing is I'm going to start with what I want to see less of. So one of my pet peeves, and anyone that follows my channel knows that I don't do this, is redemptions. I don't talk about redemptions. I don't talk about how I redeem or how many points and all that other stuff. And the reason why, and I've mentioned this before, when other people have interviewed me or they've asked me on my channel direct or even in the Discords, is it's not fair. It's not a one-to-one. Like whatever I get as a redemption, I mean, it can be celebratory and be like, hey, I got a really great redemption. It's like, hey, great. You clap, clap, clap. That's it. But I can't be like, you should do it like this. You should go through this website, or you should, transfer your points or use this card to book your trips because this will get you it, because I'm instantly lying. Like all four of us on this podcast live in four different areas. And so whatever I say is great if it works for me, but the other three are kind of screwed. They're not going to be able to get that. And even if they try to, they're going to have to, like, well, in the case of RJ and Matt, make a really big positioning flight to even attempt to get it. Like that's a trip in itself right there. The other aspect of it is that there's just too many variables when it comes to redemptions. The first would be sale. And sale is a variable itself. Like I've mentioned this before, I have 1K status, a top tier public status with United. So if I went out and did a United redemption video, you're instantly not available for it because I probably got it because it's a sale or it's a targeted offer because of my status. Which once again makes me look disingenuous because I'm like, hey, all you got to do is go do this and you go do it. And you can do exactly same airport, same time of day at the same time. You will get a different price because of that. And so then it makes me look disingenuous. Also having a card, I've also mentioned, and I'm going to stay on United because yes, if you have a United card, you will get most often more than 50% of the time, at least 10% off. Like you'll see Savor Award on the booking itself because it's like, hey, thanks for being a United member and you have the card. We're going to take 10% off of this, or sometimes even more than that. Once again, if you don't have the card, you don't get that redemption. So I would be putting information out there, not just for me, but other creators do this as well. And it just will never add up. But like I said, if Matt got a great redemption, he's like, hey, I just got a great redemption. Check what I just got out. That's fine. That's celebratory. But to the extent of telling people how to do a certain thing because this will get the best value, do this backdoor booking, book from over here, use this third-party website, go through Google Flight. That stuff, well, Google Flights, never mind, because everyone can use it. But that stuff just is not fair. It's not inclusive and equal for everyone. And that's why I think that from an extent we could stay away from it. But going back to the celebratory thing, I don't have a thing with problem with redemptions. If you got a great redemption, you want to talk about how you did it, please do, because that's education. And even though someone might not get the same redemption as you, they could learn something of how to get a good redemption for themselves. So I'm not against it. I'm just like, like RJ said, don't say you have to do it like this because that's not going to work for everyone. But the one thing I really do appreciate, and there's one friend of the channel, especially my channel's name is Chad of Chad's Money Minutes. He will talk about his redemptions and he will also show you the receipts. He'll make a completely separate video about it and like walk you through, hey, here's our flight. Here's the hotel. Here's that lounge that I stayed in. Here's the experience that I got. And like, I really do appreciate that. Would I ever get the exact same thing as him? No, one, because Chad and I are first off in two separate parts of the country. His last one, he flew on an airline I've never flown before. So not planning on it because I want to make sure I keep my status with United for another year. So I got to get, fly United to get that United status. So I'm not doing that. But it was still good to see how he did it, especially when it comes to hotels, because hotels can be treated differently than airline, but he also shows it. And I don't think enough creators that talk about redemptions show it. I think one of the biggest epiphany moments for me was when everyone's doing their 2024 strategy or what I'm doing at 2025 in the end of 2024 or beginning of 2025. There were creators that were like, I took 2 trips or I only signed up for 1 card. I'm like, you're a credit card YouTuber or you're a travel YouTuber and you didn't travel. Like, you didn't take any trips, but I can literally go back through your catalog and be like, this is what I booked. Well, now the math doesn't math. If you only took 2 trips, but you got 9 videos talking about what you booked, like, come on, man. You just booked the Holiday Inn down the street. Like, come on, man. Let's be real. I'm not calling anyone's name out, but y'all can probably find a couple of them out there. And I'm going to say there are a couple of them out there. I will say that. But anyway, I'm not putting anyone on blast. You got to do your own research. Now, what would I like to see more of? And this, like I said, this is getting into what I'm trying to do myself, is how we use these cards that we have. I don't talk about cards that I don't have unless I'm in a comparison mode. Like, I don't have a Capital One card. I've never made a Capital One video. I've mentioned Capital One in my video compared to like an Amex Platinum or a Sapphire Reserve, something like that. But I don't really talk about that. The thing is, how do we use them? And this is the one thing I absolutely love to do. If anyone has ever watched one of my videos, there is a almost 8 out of 10 chance that I've dropped a point stack alert. Like, I do this like light thing with the sirens or whatever. Because this is literally how I use the cards, or how I use particular strategy. On top of that, when it comes to the information that we talk about, like I said, I travel a lot, and I try to incorporate a lot of my travel into it. Now, there's reasons why I don't do it that much. One is because people don't really watch that stuff, which is why I put it behind members only. So if you want to see like a hotel room that I've stayed at, it's behind members only now, because I'm not going to ruin my algorithm where I'm going to put out a video that gets 30 views. Just not going to do it. I'm not going to sit there and edit it and put all my little flair on it so it doesn't get any views. So that's why I put it behind members only, if you're ever wondering why I do that. But how I got the upgrade, like I've talked about, I've set United Polaris class 1,000,001 times. I don't buy it all the time. Sometimes I get it through some of the strategies, having the card, how I get on the upgrade list, how I make sure I get up there. These are the types of things that on my channel I'm starting to shift to get people there. Now, I know I got a good head start, especially with 1K status. But there are ways that you can get it. I recently did a video on how you can get status just through United credit cards without ever flying. Like, I went through every single United credit card and how you can add up all the PQPs to get status. Like, those types of things. These are things that I do personally that work. Yes, I fly a lot, but also I do these other things to get across the top. I've said it before. Without my credit cards and my work travel, I wouldn't get United 1K. I'm not afraid to admit it. So there you go again, RJ. I'm going to admit that I travel for work. There we go. I'm not afraid to admit it. It is part of my strategy, folks. I've never hid it. I've never like hid behind it or anything. But these are the types of things that can help and work. And that's for flight. I think hotels, once again, are a lot easier. You'll probably see a lot of that coming up this year. Like we mentioned over the last few weeks, I got the Hilton Aspire card for 2025. I got a lot of those Hilton stays. I'll show you what I booked. I'll show you what I ended up with. Like those types of things. Because that's something that's fully inclusive that everyone would be able to do, because I paid to play. I paid my $550. I got diamond status. What that diamond status do for me? Those types of things. I think that's where personally I would like to see broader YouTube go, but I can't tell people what to do. But at least that's what I'm planning to do, and in the process of doing for myself and for my channel, and for those that want to support my channel by viewing and hitting the subscribe button and becoming members.
One of the biggest features of Lonnie's membership, you'll know all the little Easter eggs I'm dropping from time to time. Tariq,
I dropped some stuff behind the members only paywall. Matt knows. I say some things that I would never say in an actual public video. And I'm not talking about like cussing or nothing. I'm talking about like actual hacks, stacks, strategies that just don't have time to put it in the full video.
If you want some cursing, check out my latest video.
That's Matt.
I was trying to just keep it all behind the paywall, but I was encouraged to publish it. So we're just gonna see what happens. Anyway, Tariq, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of in terms of credit card YouTube?
First off, I don't think it's possible for Lonnie to swear. I don't think he knows what a swear word is. But you know
Oh no,
what?
he does.
What you talking about, Willis?
Look, I don't know nothing. You already know that.
New
But
title.
great. This is just, you know what? I deserve it. I ate barbecue at an airport. No, one of the things that I'm tired of seeing are from like certain creators who post 20 some odd videos of the same exact card, of why it's the best card, why it's your only card, comparing it to another card. It's the same video, and it almost seems like when it's done, it's like, oh, views are down. Let me just post this card and get my views up. There are more cards out there than the one card that you talk about. You know, diversify. And if you drop another video on that same card, we know what your spiel is, and it's annoying. If you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to mention the card. I will say, though, one of the things I just do want to see is like with Wanda Lynch, just more transparency. Like why, like how you're able to do the travel, whether it is, you know, you're a college student that's making like 40 some $1,000s a year and is just using it to elevate travel, or whether you're just doing cashback or whatever your strategy is. I think just more transparency and knowing how you're able to use the points and use credit cards the way you do, so that people can get a better understanding, because it makes it more real and more honest. And you're not essentially just the word I'm looking for. I mean, honestly, I could probably say it better if I just, you know, made my own videos, but you know, we're here now. But maybe what I want to see is just things that I just need to do. So we'll just leave it at that.
Be the change you wish to see in the world.
Trick, I think you just created your first video concept of why I am making a YouTube channel. It'll be really, I like, just take it out of this podcast, post it onto your channel. Everything you just said, just post it onto your channel, and we got our first video.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for the community now. We're all waiting.
Yep.
Y'all have all
We're
been
waiting.
I understand.
I'm sure RJ can get you that snippet pretty easily.
I need you to be a Delta, not a Spirit right now. And like, the plane needs to leave.
But the big seat up front.
It's the big front seat. I mean, it could be worse. It could be on Southwest and just going completely against everything what I've been doing my entire life.
That too. Yeah. No, Tariq, definitely take that and run with it. You don't even have to edit it too much. So what direction would I like to, if I could steer credit card YouTube content into a different direction? First and foremost, I'd be getting rid of all these, any and all tier videos. Those would be gone. They may be like entirely subjective, yes, but no, RJ, I didn't mean like your tier videos, but
Now I'm sad because I was gonna make one.
No, I
No.
think it's something like the credit card ladder videos.
Oh, those can also get thrown into the sun.
Oh.
No, because everyone's credit card journey is different. You can't dictate, get a secure card first. That is the first rung on the ladder. Then you'll graduate to this other card. Like, no. Everyone's journey is going to be different. Like, you can't dictate how people are going to do it. Like, you can say it as a best practice, but not everyone's going to be able to do that. So the tier ranking videos, especially tier ranking videos where it's very obvious that the cards they're talking about, like the cards that they have, are clearly ranked higher than cards that they don't have because they're cards that they have. There is an explicit, like, there are some folks that will do like that sort of video with an explicit bias where I'll be pretty objective about my cards. If I were to do a tierless video, like, I'll be pretty objective. Like, hey, this is a card I have. This card is crap. And I'll put it down to the F tier where it belongs. X1 card. Or in the C tier where it belongs, you know, JetBlue business card. Those sorts of videos I could do away with. Other videos, like, I like opinion-based videos. I like videos kind of like calling out. There needs to be more calling out of the bigger companies. Like, yes, there's nothing that we can say or do that are going to change things explicitly, but like, you can't just sit there and let it be known that like, oh, well, Chase does this and they only do this because they're number one and they're never going to change. Like, they're never going to change because nobody calls them out on it. Amex, they're never going to change because they're Amex. Well, no, they are changing. They are currently changing into a higher, they're going after like a higher tier or like higher net worth individual. Like, they're going back to that crowd. They're actively changing to do that. It's worth noting that they're changing their focus on who they're going after. And like, if you want to be critical of that, be critical of it. Like, don't worry about the things that like Reddit will say that credit card YouTubers worry about, which is like, oh, everybody's getting paid by the banks and affiliates. Like, very few people are. Right? You can have an opinion. It can run counter to other people's opinions. More opinion-based content would be nice. Like, there are times I know I'm not on an island, but there are times where it feels like I'm on a bit of an island. And we'll see how tonight's video does with that because, yeah. So I'd like to see more opinion. I'd like to see less, credit card ladder stuff. I'd like to see less insincere tier videos. Like, if you hold the cards, great. That doesn't make them A tier because you hold them. But that's just me. So those are the things I'd like to see. Also, I'd like to see less hacks, because the more hacks that you put out into the public, the quicker that those hacks go away.
My bad. I try to temper it, Matt. My bad. You're talking to me now. I get it.
Lonnie, you're one of the most tempered when it comes to that.
I know what you're talking about, and there's a certain person.
I can't believe Matt roasted two of his co-hosts for their style of videos in the "What do you not want to see" from credit card YouTube.
What do you not want to see? I want to see less of RJ and Lonnie. That's Matt.
Wow, man.
And I would see less of Tyreek, but he doesn't post, so I guess we already see. So
man, Matt's just brutal tonight, guys.
But Matt just decided, I host this thing. My channel is what matters.
Like, the hacks are the hacks. I'm not gonna lie, but it is a get them before they're gone situation, because once you put it out in the ether, there's a point. You know what? I'm glad you actually brought this up. Sorry to cut you off. I just conjured you. I'm gonna let you finish. I promise. But
there's a route
Matt,
that
Taylor
path goes.
Swift was not on my bingo card for 2025.
Also, there's Lonnie being Kanye in 2008 is better than Kanye in 2025. We'll just say that.
Hey, Kanye in 2025 has more money than Kanye in 2008. The dude bounced back. He bounced back heavy. He's back to a billionaire again. But anyway, I still Kanye. When we turn to an adjective and a verb, it's not that great. But I'm glad you brought this up, Matt, because when it comes to some of these hacks, and I was thinking of this earlier today, where the banks themselves, and I'm saying the banks as card issuers or whatnot, we've discussed this, and we already know, it's not a surprise to know that they pay attention to YouTube of this particular niche, the credit card YouTube niche. Like, yo, how are people responding to us? How are they talking to us, talking about us? Wait, so-and-so just put something out there. Wait, there's this hack, right? And there's a point where they're like, we know about it and we don't care. And it's like, why? Because, perfect example, Hilton gift cards. We don't care that you guys are out there talking about you're using them to buy, like a Surpass card to buy a Hilton gift card, until they opened up other cards that could do the same thing. And then all of a sudden, gift card shortage. Like, dude, you have a digital website, you can make a digital gift card. It's actually probably easier than printing off a physical one. And I'm being facetious right now. When they come back, I guarantee you gift cards don't work, because at a certain point, it was like people are signing up for the cards. We're winning right now until the black goes into red. And then it's like, all right, now we got to cut it off. And I think that's the problem with the hacks. It's like, get it before it's gone, because at some point it's great because people are going to be like, oh, I can go use this card to hack this. And that bank is getting new signups. They're getting new cards and they're getting usage on the card, until the P&L starts to drop and they start losing money because of it. And then it's, oh, we got to change some stuff. And we can go ahead and file this in RJ and I's favorite bucket of, they owe us nothing and can do whatever they want when they feel. And then we get upset like, oh man, they just ruined the car. They didn't ruin the car. We ruined the car. They just allowed us to ruin it to a degree. And like, yeah, on Thursday at 2:00, we're cutting this sucker off. They don't know that. We don't know that as a community. They knew that. They knew that 2 months ago.
Yep.
Anyway, now you can finish. My bad.
No, it wasn't meant as a shot at RJ or a shot at Lonnie. There's a
Sure.
Ethos of the things that are worth doing or worth overdoing that some people took a little too much to heart. That's all.
This may or may not be the last episode of Stack Your Points because of Matt.
Man, I'm aware that like credit card companies and reward programs are watching YouTube all the time. I may or may not get a defamation case later.
I'm just gonna say this, Matt. You ended up being, and Lonnie, you may get this. You were the Kendrick Lamar control verse right now.
I totally know what you mean, and I'm not Googling it as we speak.
Lonnie knows, and that's okay.
Hey, Drake. I heard you like them young.
See, I wasn't even thinking not like this.
It all started. No. That started years ago because of that verse. That was the foundation that ended up boiling over into the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. If you know, you know.
I know everything after like that from Future and Metro Boomin. Anyway, let's move over from Jason's question, which I'm sure is going to cause some heat somewhere for me, to Sha-Tan, who asks, we see many videos about the extreme success that people have in applying for cards and seemingly never getting denials. The only time a denial seems to be talked about is when an application goes through a successful reconsideration process. I personally have scores in the 800s with all the bureaus, a 25-plus-year-old pristine profile, and the income spend to be an attractive customer, and I still get denied for cards. The question is, how honest are creators being when it comes to how many cards they are not actually getting? Tariq, I'll start with you on this one.
I wonder why. Honestly, when it comes to people getting denied for cards, especially on YouTube, that doesn't sell well. No one wants to post about their shortcomings or their failures, essentially. It's a lot better for views and clicks when they said, oh, I got accepted for this card versus I got denied for the United Explorer. Even if it's just denied, then recon, and I got approved for it. I think no one wants to paint themselves in a negative light, even if it's something as simple as a denial. So I think it goes back to that kind of the transparency disclosure thing that we talked about with Jason's question. People just don't want to be viewed negatively. They just don't want to take a L. No one was supposed to talk about their L's. Maybe that's just what I like. Maybe in the next video, I got denied for the United Explorer, and Recon said, "LOL, nice try, buddy." But I think it'll be better off for people who show off that kind of that vulnerability, or I didn't get the card that I want, or my travel strategy didn't work, is what I thought. I think it allows people to be more human. But again, creators are in the business of getting views and potentially making money, and they feel that posting their wins are better for views than posting their losses.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. RJ, your thoughts here?
So I think that the bigger creators are probably likely more selective than they come across in what they're applying for, right? Because once you get to a certain size, you have a lot more income potentially than you appear to have. So when they're filling out the applications, they're putting numbers that are much higher than you might think they are going to put because they're a YouTuber. Some of them have other streams of income, family money, things like that they can put down on an application that you wouldn't expect to see there. So they might have sort of that going for them. They might be more selective than you would think they are on applications. And they can also just not make the content. Like if they don't think it's a good video for I got, denied for the United Explorer card, like they just won't put it out. So they never talk about applying for it. That card just might get shifted down on a list that they have in a video, but they don't talk about it. So if you didn't know the order before, you don't know the order now, if they even have that much public information out there, right? Like, so there's a lot of reasons why they don't say it. Also, if you get to a certain size and you have a working relationship with Chase or Amex or Cap One or whoever, like you don't want to sour that relationship. So if you talk about them denying you, you don't want the negative comments to be something that Amex hears or Chase hears or whoever hears, right? If you get to a really big size. So I think there's a couple of things going on. I don't think it's all nefarious, but I do think some of it is like Tariq was saying, ego. Some of it is they're more selective. Some of it is how much money they have. If I'm a YouTuber and I have family money and I have, 500,000 a year from investments and real estate or whatever, and I just look like somebody in my, room doing, credit card content. If I put 500,000 on an app, it's a lot easier to get accepted for basically any card than if you make 50,000. And that's something that people aren't typically transparent about, to where that's partly why they're getting approved for these cards to begin with.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that. Especially the part of, if they did get denied for an Amex card or a Chase card, and then those comments roll in, that could look bad on Amex or Chase, or Wells Fargo, or Wells Fargo type partners. Just really leaning into I made a rant video tonight. Yeah. So, Lonnie, any further thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm going to shift it just a little bit and put a little bit of the blame on the banks, because just at the time of year right now where fiscals are starting to roll over, it's March. So, fiscal years are starting to roll over for a lot of these banks. And they're in a position of, do we got too much risk out there, or do we need to entice more people to come? And you're starting to see that with a lot of these inflated welcome offers. Hilton's has a current inflated welcome offer, like free night certificates on the welcome offer of Surpass and Honors. They're $0 and they're two lower cards. It would have been awesome if they put 2 free night certificates on the Aspire, but one can only ask for so much. But even with Chase, they're lowering credit limits. Well, we've all heard about the ink train stuff, and I'm not talking about the credit reporting. I'm talking about it's harder to get approved from. So there's like there's too much risk out there. People are once again too many people are taking advantage of us. We're getting from going from black to red. It's time to start cutting it off. Where right now, I think a lot of it now, not taken away from the creator side that my previous co-host just mentioned on, but like I'm hearing Amex pop-up jail from so many different people, including myself. I was put in pop-up jail. Um, we're not going to talk about how I got out of it to get my Hilton card, but I was put in pop-up jail, and even I'm like, yo, how do I get to my next card with the Amex if I'm in pop-up jail? How do I get out of it? And I'm like, and I'm very much like you, high credit score. It was a cobrand hotel card I've never had before. I'm in good standing, long history, and I got put into pop-up jail. And I'm like, this makes no sense, right? So I don't necessarily, and I consider pop-up jail a denial, me personally. Define it how you want. That's why I'm bringing it up. But Chase will just flat out tell you no. Let's just be real. Chase will flat out tell you no. I don't think Amex necessarily tells people no. But anyway, I think it's because of the banks are changing. Maybe they don't need us as new card holders right now, especially after you hit that apply button. They're like, you got X amount of cards, or here's your credit history as a whole. Maybe you're a churner. Maybe you keep cards for a year or two and then you cancel them, or you product change them. Maybe you're one of the people that like apply for a new card like literally like every 30 days, if that's your thing. And right now it's just like we don't want any of that at the moment. And so we're seeing a lot more denials. We're seeing a shift, but it's driven by the banks versus you and your credit profile and your finances as a person may be a little bit less. It just be like, from a business standpoint, we don't really need you as a customer right now, which is what I think Amex is doing, where when they pull your credit, they're like, yeah, dude, you already got 10 cards. We don't really need you as a customer right now. You're not going to really provide us anything. You're going to get this sign up bonus. But when you actually go out and buy something, you only get to really swipe one card. How do I know you're going to swipe us after you get that sign up bonus? And it's like, that's the risk that I'm talking about. So yeah, I don't necessarily think it's all about the creators and being disingenuous on their applications and their watch me apply videos. I'm not going to take away from that. And like I said, I don't disagree with my co-hosts that have mentioned that in their answer. But at the same time, I don't think it would be fair for us to also not think of the bank from a business standpoint where, like, once again, let's use Chase Inc. How many, just in this community, how many Chase Inc. cards were printed in 2024 where they're just like, yeah, we don't really need credit card YouTube. This little corner of the internet took care of us. They've knocked out our Q3 and our Q4. We don't need them. So let's just start cutting folks off.
Yeah, at least thousands. Well, low thousands probably.
I would say low thousands. I would put a comment in how many ink cards this community, this corner of the internet got in 2024. Not putting any names out there, but yeah, not putting any names out there, but one of our very close creator friends had 7.
Yep. So the question is, how honest are creators being when it comes to how many cards they're not actually getting? I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't think there's a meeting of the minds. It's like, hey, so I just got rejected for like 6 cards in the last month. Like, should I do a video about that? No, because everybody wants to follow along the dopamine train of you got approved, celebrate the win. I don't know if there's there's ever been a breakdown of analytics, or I'm sure there are creators who at one point did a breakdown of analytics where it's like the videos that I get approved for do significantly better than the videos I get denied for because of X, Y, or Z reason. I've noticed that there are creators who will mention like I applied for this card, I got denied, but that's part of of a larger video about either another card that they applied for and got, or how their roadmap is going, or like a check-in on their roadmap after quarter one, or check-in on their roadmap after quarter three. Roadmap video is another one where I'm kind of like, but that's just me. Um, so I think they're largely being honest, but I also think that they don't necessarily want to put out the um, I applied for the Capital One Venture card and got denied because reasons. Um, Capital One is pretty fickle when it comes to their approval algorithm, whatever it is. Uh, they don't really have. There's also like a lot of the issuers. There's no real recourse after you get the denial. Like you get the denial, you get the letter. Chase, you can do a call, you can do a recon call, but like how many people have successfully overturned a decision from US Bank? How many people have successfully overturned a decision from American Express? How many people have overturned a decision from Capital One? Like that doesn't make for lack of a better term, great theater, because like if you go through the process and Chase is the only ones who are potentially going to reconsider you, like then how many videos would we be bemoaning, going back to the last question, like steering the credit card YouTube community, like what videos wouldn't you want to watch? Like after a while, reconsideration videos. It's only Chase that will entertain reconsideration, or it's only Chase that we've noticed that will entertain reconsideration. There's only so many times where you can watch a reconsideration call with one particular bank. Like I would actually be more interested in clicking a recon call with Capital One, or a reconsideration call with Bank of America, or a reconsideration call with American Express, where it's like at least it's a different bank, so I can at least hear what's going on from that bank's side of things. So if you're getting denied from Bank of America, hey, record that call. I would sort of be interested in hearing it. But like we just don't hear about it because there's only there's four banks. No, sorry. There's like six banks that we really talk about in this community. Chase, American Express, Bank of America, Capital One, US Bank, and to a much, much lesser degree, Wells Fargo. There's also Barclays to an extent, but that's only because people are talking about like the Wyndham the Wyndham cards, or the JetBlue cards. Nobody else is talking about like the Gap card. And I don't think anyone in credit card YouTube would talk about like, I got denied for the Gap card. Here's how I got Barclays to successfully reconsider my application. Like no one would want to find me the person who will click on that video. I'll wait.
I would
Matt,
watch it.
I would 100%
I would definitely watch
that.
that. Full disclosure, I would watch that.
I'm gonna
While
need you to
walking
go
the
apply for
dog?
the Gap card now, Matt.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah,
I already
well,
hold one as an authorized user.
Or
that
the
sounds like the
Athleta.
perfect video while walking the dog, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I got denied for the Gap Good Rewards MasterCard. Here's the reconsideration call with Barclays.
I'm sorry, you want how many of my children to even consider rerunning the report? They haven't gotten on my nerves enough yet. I'll have to call you back. No, it's just like there's only six big-ish banks that we talk about. Nobody talks about FMBO. Nobody really talks about Barclays. Nobody really talks about other issuers like Robinhood sometimes, Goldman Sachs sometimes when it comes to the Apple Card. But like it's Chase, Amex, Capital One, Bank of America, US Bank, and Wells. Like I don't know how truthful or disingenuous they're being, because I assume that everybody's coming at this honestly, but there's only six banks. There's only so many cards that we can call that will make content about, because those are the ones that we think are going to get clicks. aside from Built or soon Mesa, but that's just because they're in a whole other niche.
I'd
And
like
yes,
to
I talked
add
about Built again.
I'd like to add something to my thing I don't want to see anymore on credit card YouTube. Stop making videos you think you're only making because people will click on it. Stop. Stop. The hollow video that you're only putting out for clicks. Stop.
Yeah. So Sha-Tan, I don't know if there's or Sha-Tan, sorry. I don't know how honest. I assume everybody's being honest about it, but like there's got to be a whole bunch of other thoughts going on there, especially things like who's actually going to watch me do a denial video about the chasing cash, or the good rewards card from the Gap issued by Barclays. So yeah. But we'll go to our last question. It comes from Kid Cat, who asks, "We're a quarter into the year. Thanks for reminding me. Do you have do you have any regrets or major course corrections to be made to your travel habits, partners, or overall strategy?" They give this context of, "After the most recent Bonvoy devaluations, I'm regretting going with Marriott Titanium instead of Hyatt Globalist. There I am, confusing Hyatt and Hilton again. Hooray. Despite the value I've received from 4 p.m. checkout, airline status, and upgrades, Bonvoy continues to Bonvoy. And boy, do they. Bonvoy, I could go on some tangents about Bonvoy. So quarter into the year, RJ, any changes to your travel habits, partners, overall strategy?
I got the Hilton Surpass. This makes me very happy. I finally have my Hilton card. Look, I'll
Gift
be
cards.
honest.
Oh, wait.
I'll be honest because it goes into my topic later. I was in pop-up jail. They said, "Do you want to do this without the sub?" I said yes because I wanted the card. The card was important to my overall strategy. Now it's Hilton, so you can make points happen very quickly. The Surpass is a really good card to make points happen fairly quickly. And let's face it, 135,000 points is a weekend. So of redemptions. So it wasn't a huge amount of points. And I'm sitting on like 150, so it's not like I'm, completely tapped out of Hilton points. So yeah, for me, the Surpass was a huge game changer. I usually look at Hilton first, but I do second, third, and fourth passes sometimes. It's going to be a lot harder to not pick the Hilton option going forward, at least for a little while, probably for the next year or so. A little bit of choice in there because I have that card as well. But yeah, that has changed a little bit. That has changed making, the gold going away makes it easier because that means I can bump the business gold and use the Surpass to fill some gaps. But yeah, it makes a lot of things easier going forward. So I'm very happy to have that card. And I plan to put it to some good use in the near future.
No, that makes total sense. I don't have any regrets or major course corrections to be made with travel habits, partners, overall strategy. I don't travel nearly as much as my co-hosts. And lately, if I'm buying, the only thing I've done differently is I've prioritized paying Marriott stays in cash. Why? Because, well, Bonvoy. And beyond that, though, like I will still transfer points to Hyatt. I will still transfer points to JetBlue if I need to, but right now I'm sitting on 140,000 JetBlue points, so I don't need to transfer anything right now. I'm sitting pretty there. I've got just under 200,000 Hilton points. I don't see the need to go out and get the Surpass, the next card on the ladder. If you're going to do the ladder, I've like flirted with applying for the business card, but it's just a ooh shiny. It's not a this is integral to my strategy right now. So I would rather keep that in a holding pattern until I need it. So yeah, I haven't updated my habits or partners or overall strategy so far this year. The other thing is I am still waiting for the golden goose that is potentially a Wells Fargo Beyond card. So until that card is real, I am just sort of like waiting some stuff out, and I want to see if Wells Fargo adds any more partners of consequence and see what that looks like going into the second half of the year. Assuming that they, release the card sometime in Q2. So Q1, I'm good with where I am, and I've got a couple of trips to book. I'm undecided on the creator meetup for reasons, but I'm not going to get into those here. And yeah, so far so good for me this year. Lonnie, where are you at the quarter point of the year?
Yeah, I don't have any regrets at the moment. Based on thinking of considering the Bonvoy Brilliant, Kit Kat, I might be reaching out to you for your link on that one. I know I owe you that one from the last time. Could be a regret, but I don't, even after devaluations, I don't see it as a regret. Free night cert, I can add the extra 15K on there for 100,000. And right now has, their inflated offer. That's a win-win. And even if I only use it for, my one guaranteed Marriott stay a year, still a win, still coming out ahead. So no, I don't have any real course corrections. Haven't really changed my travel strategy or my habits or my partners. So no, but I will say actually, yes. So one thing when it comes to a card, and one of the reasons, so yes, I mentioned this before, the Bonvoy Brilliant will probably be the next card that I choose. Matt was very graciously kind enough to hit me up first thing in the morning and let me know that the 185K offer was back at the time of this recording, is still active, and think through like May 14th or something like that, if you're interested in it. But I haven't hit the button for it yet. And one of the reasons why, one is I'm afraid I might still be in pop-up jail. But the other aspect, which I don't necessarily care about, I'm kind of like on RJ on that one. I'll be able to instantly start using it and getting the value from the card itself without the sign-up bonus starting in June. Actually, twice this year. I could use it twice this year, June and late in the fall. But when I consider a card, one thing that I've tried to do is talk myself out of it. So we've heard me say this in previous episodes. Like, I think Suppress makes a lot of sense for me. It's a good everyday card. It's a good all around card. It's not too expensive. It's a great card. I didn't get the Surpass. I was able to talk myself out of it. If I could talk myself out of it, then I don't need it. And I was not able to do that with the Aspire, which is why I got it. And right now, I have not been able to talk myself out of the Bonvoy Brilliant, which is why I'm still considering it. But I have until May to get it. I don't need it until at the earliest June. So I might wait till literally like the last day to get it, because once I apply, that 6 months starts. Then I'd rather it start 60 days from now.
No, that makes total sense. I will also add, wasn't a course correction, wasn't a need to reevaluate my travel habits, my partners, or overall strategy, but a card did release that made me so thoroughly disgusted in the card that I would not consider applying for it. Barclays, you know what you did, and you should be ashamed.
Did you still got your Disney card, right? You didn't product change that one? More inside jokes, y'all. More inside jokes. More inside. Become a member to Matt and I's channel, and it's a whole other story.
Yep. Last but certainly not least, Tariq.
I have one regret, which will turn into a major course correction. I was on Matt's channel talking about it. And my biggest regret is choosing the airline that thought it was a good idea to abandon what made them them. Southwest, what the fuck? you have 2 free check bags. That was your thing. And the open seating, which was controversial. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I was kind of more on the love, with the exception of the 24-hour check-in thing. But I'd like the idea of opening a seat. But literally, my girlfriend, we were talking about, well, why don't we just do Southwest? They do the 2 free check bags. Well, thanks, Southwest. I can't even do that now. So, you can kick rocks barefoot, you bastards. Not only that, I had to fly out of Terminal A at a San Antonio International Airport, and San Antonio decided that it was a good idea, out of the 11 airlines that they fly, to have 9 of them in the older terminal with narrow concourses and overcrowding. The only redeeming quality of that terminal is the fact that they have a Whataburger. And even then, it was ridiculously long lines. If I would have just known that they were going to do some bull BS like that, I would have just stuck in Terminal B, where there's only two airlines, United and American. At this point, Southwest is a worse version of American, with the exception of having some nonstop flights. So, yeah, I deleted Mileage Plus X for like 5 days. Soon as that BS started happening, and as soon as they announced the no back fees, I re-downloaded Mileage Plus X. Hello, I am home. I am sorry for ever leaving you.
Have you considered that you deleting Mileage Plus X is the reason for Southwest's downfall? Like, the universe said no. We must correct this.
I firmly believe that might be what happened. And if that's the case, I'm sorry, universe. Mileage Plus X will be firmly placed in my phone app, and I will never even consider deleting that app off my phone.
Tariq, you got any other apps you could delete that could like fix some timelines? Because since about, I don't know, 2010, this one's been a little broken.
Maybe the Southwest app? See what that can do.
Hey, sometimes you got to separate to become closer.
But aside from that, one thing that I did learn, rant over, is fortunately with IHG Platinum status, thanks to the Premier card, that they have Hertz status with 5-star, which is the middle status, like right below President Circle. And if I ever need to rent a car, I'll probably lean more towards Hertz, because it was fine when I did it, this past weekend. And I know, I try not to rent cars if I don't have to. I'm more akin to doing public transit. But, if I'm flying into Kansas City and having to drive an hour and a half and they don't have public transportation, I'm going to have to rent a car. You know what? It is what it is. But yeah, probably Hertz until I get burned. And then I'll have a rent akin to what I just had with Southwest. So Southwest, I no longer feel the love. I want to get away from you. Oh, which, by the way, I got rid of want to get away because y'all wanted to do the basic, which, great. Hey, Spirit, here's an idea. You want to get the customers that Southwest just lost? Offer at least 1 free check bag. Southwest will go under, and you'll get out of Chapter 11, and Southwest will probably file Chapter 7. Just a thought.
Quick fact check. Spirit got out of Chapter 11 last month.
Oh, well, what do you know? Throw Southwest in Chapter 7 if you want to offer a check bag. Literally any of the airlines, if they just offer, like one of the low-cost airlines, if they just offer a free check bag, they're going to get all of the business that Southwest is about to lose.
There we go. All right. Any final thoughts or anything on questions there? All right. Well, if you want to join in the conversation, leave us questions. You can use the Friday Q&A videos on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe if you like what we do. You can join the Stack Your Points Discord to ask questions there. We have a podcast questions section of the Discord where you can ask questions that we will answer. You can also email us at stackyourpoints@gmail.com if you're listening on the Saturday show. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We'll talk to you soon. That's going to do it for this episode of Stack Your Points. As always, you can drop us a like and subscribe here on YouTube on Mondays. On Wednesdays and Fridays. Geez, I forgot what our schedule was. RJ, if folks wanted to find you on the vast expanses of the internet, where's the best place to find you?
You can find me in the Stack Your Points Discord. Also, there's going to be a link in the description on Wednesday and Friday's video for a survey that we're doing on credit card usage from people to formulate a couple of questions that I have in mind, but I want to have some data so I'm not just speaking out of one side of my mouth and then the other.
Fantastic. Please fill out that survey. I may or may not have. Thic, best place to find you around the vast expanses of the world.
Definitely in the Stack Your Points Discord. May or may not be in that new corner that RJ created, just because it hurts a little. But I might pop in and see what the fun is on that. But
It's a
aside from
circular
that,
corner.
yeah, I know. Aside from that, Reeks Rewards. Now that I have an actual video topic idea, and we'll work on that.
There we go. And Mr. Call Me Lonnie, best place to find you?
Well, first off, I like how Thic closed the loop from the beginning of this to the end of it. So I like that. That was smooth, dude. That was real smooth. You can find me at AmericanExpress.com waiting for a good members only offer to fall in.
You're going to wait forever.
No, I'm not going to wait more than 2 weeks. But if you can't find me there, you can find me also in the Stack Your Points Discord or on my YouTube channel, which is Call Me Lonnie, all one word, and Lonnie is spelled Lani.
Fantastic. You can find me on the Stack Your Points Discord as well. You can find me here in the comments from time to time on these videos. You can also find me on my YouTube channel. That is just my name, Matt Clausen. I dropped no rants from me tonight just because I got my ranting out of my system before tonight's recording with a video on Built that may or may not get me on a Built watch list somewhere. Because I know they watch. And they're going to have words. That's going to do it for our episode. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. Bye for now.